Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Jeff and today we're going to have some fun playing Magic, and we are diving into a sweet Gruul ramp Phylath and Morog deck. I've been wanting to play around Morog for forever and I was not sure exactly how to play it, but this is something I'm really excited for. So 6 mana, 6/6, each creature you control gets +1/+0 for each time it attacked this turn. So it gives a bonus just for having a wide board. This basically gives you a Castle Embereth type of effect just by having Morog on the battlefield. Anything that attacks on that turn that this comes down, you get a pump. And then whenever landfall into this battlefield under your control, if it's your main phase, there's an additional combat phase after this phase. At the beginning of that combat, untap all creatures you control. So you actually have to attack in first and then play the land to get the untapped and really make it work, or play enough lands that you get the extra untap to go on and do kind of stuff like that. So anyway, there's some really cool stuff that you can do with Morog, and Phylath works perfectly with this as well. But they're both 6 drops, and so they are a little bit expensive. But first off, Phylath, 6 mana, 5/5. Whenever it enters the battlefield, create a 0/1 green plant creature token for each basic land you control, which with Dryad, I tested this out a little bit and I think that Marina might be bugged on it, but it's supposed to turn all of our lands into basic lands, and so it should check this and say, oh, all of your lands are basic lands. Although I did notice that Arena's kind of bugged on that, so we'll see. And I might be wrong. Put it down in the comments below if I'm wrong on the ruling, but it should make everything. Anyway, either way, we get to create a really wide board with this if we have 6 lands on the battlefield. And then whenever land enters the battlefield, you can put a 4+ opposing counters onto a plant you control, so you can make them really big, really massive, really fast, and do some fun stuff. Well, with Morog, all of our go wide plants. So the best thing here is basically play Phylath on, we're going to ramp up. So turn 4, turn 5, and then play Morog on turn 5 or turn 6, and just swing it with a massive amount of plants, swing in for a bunch of turns, do some awesome fun stuff. So that is the dream of this deck. That is what I was going for, is that these 2 cards, they're both 6 drops. They're really expensive, but they work really, really well together. And so I wanted to try to fit them into a deck where they could synergize, as well as put it into a deck where it's going to win games, regardless of if we find these 3 copies of these things, which is sometimes hard to do. And so overall, I was really happy with the deck. So first off, we need to make sure that we have enough land drops to hit. So here are all the lands that we have. I like kind of putting them all over here so it's a little bit easier to see. So yeah, overall we have 25 lands, I think, in the deck. 18 basic lands, or actual lands, I guess is how you say it, and then 7 more over here. So we get up to the 25 mark, and that'll help us play things like our Akum Hellhound, our Brushfire Elemental, which are just our 2 actual landfall trigger creatures that we're really focusing on. We do have the Mammoth, which can help pump up and do some pretty cool things as well. I've never been that impressed with it because it doesn't have any evasiveness. It's not cheap like the Hellhound. It does have a bigger body, but I feel like this is more of a commander card, honestly. It's good, especially if you can, this is great on a turn 3 play on a board where someone's not going to have a blocker type of thing. Then it becomes a lot bigger and more awesome. Anyway, Brushfire Elemental does have the evasiveness and is probably one of the best. It does the most damage in our deck out of almost anything, besides when we get the combo off with this stuff. Otherwise, Brushfire Elemental, we just hit a lot of land drops, so we get in for a lot of damage. It has haste, it has evasiveness where it can't be blocked by things 2 or less, power 2 or less, which is so common that happens that it's really cool. And so that's basically the game plan, is get out a few of these creatures, kind of do our basic ramp thing, and win with Cute Swarms, win with all that kind of stuff. We can do that regardless of if we find Phylath and Morog. We are ramping up as fast as we can, though. So instead of just putting in Landfall Ramp, we're putting in Gilded Goose, we're putting in Lotus Cobra, because the more creatures that we have that are out in the battlefield for ramping also are attackers for us with Morog, which even Gilded Goose with 0 power can become 1 power, 2 power, 3 power, the more lands that we hit along the way. We have less ways to hit lands as well, kind of because of that as well, but we're all in kind of this explosiveness in this deck, and being able to turn a board that doesn't seem that threatening into something very threatening. And that is what is so exciting about this deck, and I love that type of gameplay. Skyclave Pickaxe, kind of the same type of thing. Throwing this onto Gilded Goose can be really busted for that evasiveness as well. 1 copy here because that's all I could really squeeze in with the game plan I was going for. Migratory Greathorn because it's busted with the Elemental and busted with everything else. Great 3-drop, really. That's all we're really ever going to play it as, to mutate it onto any of our creatures here, which are busted, powerful, amazing, or onto his Scoot Swarm and be creating a bunch of 3/4s, whatever, which is really fun to do. And then 1 Rada, 4 copies of Rolling Regrowth to make sure that we can, go digging for our lands at instant speed is really nice. I like this a lot more than Cultivate for decks like this, especially when we're trying to find more basic lands for a Phylath. Dryad, because it just helps us ramp up a little bit more. It's just an extra creature in here. I especially with the bug that's in Arena, not letting these be basic lands. And again, I'm not sure if that's the actual ruling or if that's a bug on Arena. Just the way that it reads, it seems to me that that's a bug. This might be taken out for something else, at least until it's working better. Maybe for something else in the 2-drop slot for a little bit more ramp or whatever, or just honestly more removal. Because you guys have probably noticed the way that I build my decks, I don't put in that much removal because I put in all the fun stuff instead. I understand that it's all the fun stuff instead of removal. I do. I really get it. And that's just the way I like to play. It's fun for me. I feel like I'm doing my stuff, and occasionally I'll throw in all the removal in the world, and it's a much better deck. But the fun, guys, the fun is there. And I do have some removal into the mana base with Shatterskull Smashing, with Spikefield Hazard. That really isn't that much, though. So... I'm going in for the explosive beatdown deck anyway. So anyway, this is the deck. Let's go ahead and jump into the gameplay, see how it does for me. Wish me luck. And if you guys would, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Like to the video, subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. And let's go ahead and dive into it. Here we go. All right, up against Ryan Kolith. And this is a pretty sweet hand. We have Lotus Cobra, Migration Horn, a Migratory Great Horn. Excuse me. Which one do we want to get out first, though? We can go more for the aggro play with the Great Horn and actually get in for quite a bit of damage, potentially. Or just go for ramp. I guess it depends on what we find here. Let's go ahead and lead off with the Forest. Evolving Wilds, the whole idea of having Evolving Wilds on the deck is so we can get multiple triggers with landfalls. We can do some pretty sweet stuff, potentially, if we find another 2-drop. Like another Lotus Cobra on turn 3 would actually be really great here. So play Mountain, play... Yeah, I think it's the Elemental first. Get in for the damage that we can here. This sets up for some pretty fun plays with the Great Horns. Being able to play 2 a turn, if we hit another land here, is nice. All right, so Lotus Cobra. Evolving Wilds. Evolving Wilds, crack it again. Grab I guess a Mountain so we can guarantee the Morog when we need it. We do have the Lotus Cobras to kind of help with that too. Let's go for the Forest. Grab the red source, play Lotus Cobra while we have the mana, and swing in for 5. And that's just a lot of power on the board now. That's going to be hard for them to beat. Great Horns get to pump up here. If we hit another land, then we can play both Great Horns. Actually, if we hit land, we just get Morog, don't we? That is a land. Let's see here. Actually, can we play out the entire hand? We're pretty close to it. All right, so play out the land, pay the 3 life, get some triggers. All right, red and red. Yeah, Great Horns are good for later plays as well. If they do have like a counter spell or have something else here, these end up being a good finisher for the next turn still. So if they let us attack in here, this gets +1 for each creature that attacked this turn. I think that counts for the first time it attacks as well. So yeah, bounces with Raisin Bar. That was expected. We still got to keep all damage dealers on the board though. Like they really don't come back from this here. Not easily, especially if we draw land. Yeah, there we go. Sweet. That is basically what we want this deck to do. Morog, if it does, get to stick around, is amazing and busted and gets to do some sweet things. If not, it's just something they have to deal with, and then everything else will kill them. Up against Bowman. Bring it on, Bowman. If we hit another land, like a Great Horn onto Hellhound is sweet. If we hit, even Hellhound into Field Passage isn't that bad. We're gonna try this hand out. This is a risky one for sure. We have our colors. We have a lot of lands in the deck. Yeah, go Hellhound, pass the turn. Okay, Fabled Passage. That's not another land. Go to combat, attack in. Crack it, grab a forest. All right, we have many a land in the deck. Let's just find one of them. Tap land is fine with Brushfire Elemental. Untapped land is great with Migratory Greathorn. Triad's gonna feel a little bit awkward though. Teferi's Tutelage. All right, mill those 2 lands we have on top of our deck. Let's see it. Come on, you can do it. What? Those were not lands? Okay, we found a land. Sweet. That's an untapped land. Greathorn, or let's go Elemental. We need to get damaged or roll on here. Why did I pay the 3 life? I definitely did not need to there. Not that it matters against this deck, but oops. Keeping all the lands in the deck, this has actually been... that works pretty well. Skygate Stormcaller, double eliminate here. Ooh, that's good. Maddening Cacophony with it. Mill 16 cards. Whew. Oh man, that is dirty. All right, we want more damage on this because they can actually block the Hellhound. So onto the Elemental. Swing in. Blocks the Hellhound. Yeah, it's the only thing you can block. Down to 6. If they don't have any blockers next turn, we can still win. If we hit a flippin' land. Drown of the Lock. Stormcaller, Maddening Cacophony. All right, we're going to have to play this. This looks really fun. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, go Gilded Goose. Go Scoot Swarm or Dryad. If we hit land, we can play Pylath, which gets more creatures out. If that's the case. Not that more plants really help us here, unless we find a Morog as well. This also just does 2 points of damage, where the Scoot doesn't have a guaranteed more than that. No attacks. Draw a card, milling over more good stuff. Only 14 cards left. Oh, this is getting a little bit nerve-wracking. Extinction Event. We have all odd creatures. All right. Yes, land is good. Land is great. Mountain. Let's just go ahead and attack in. All right. Down to 2. That's a big creature. We get to go wide. If we find Castle Embereth, we can win. If we find, like, it gives us a lot of different options. Lands you control are every basic land time addition to the other types. When enters, it's equal to the number of basic lands you control. This should be counted as a basic land. So this is actually checking it wrong because it's supposed to be a basic land as well. So that actually, I think, is a bug in the arena, unless it should count it as a basic land in addition to everything, because it's saying it basically is checking it to see, okay, well, it's a non-basic and a basic land at the same time. But shouldn't it being a basic land, that should just cover the check, I believe, on Phylath's ability, where so we only created 4 tokens instead of the 5. And so I may be wrong in how that reads. That should come in with a 5th token there. Not that it matters a lot, but with Castle Embereth, with, Morog, you can do some pretty fun stuff. So we'll see how that goes. All right, up against Sulaid. Bring it on. And if we hit a land, this is a beautiful hand. And we get 2-3 draws to do it. So yeah, this is okay. Castle Embereth first. And green source. Lotus Cobra, please survive, don't get countered, all those things would be great. And it's dead. Oh, all right. Soaring Thought Thief. All right, another 2-drop would be great here. Actually, wait, we get to play the Great Horn onto Lotus Cobra, huh? John of the Lock. All right, that's cool. Getting in for less damage, but more bodies on the board is useful here. Elemental. Swing in, down to 19, pass the turn. This means even if they do remove something here, we can possibly get Great Horn down. Down to 15, Wrinkle is annoying. We probably ought to discard one of these guys and choose which one we want. Morog gives a higher chance of actually killing them in one turn, so I guess we drop a Phylath. We get to draw an extra card, which is nice. All right, so I get to Migratory Great Horn twice. Do we get to actually play Morog here as well? I think we do. All right, so Great Horn. Put it over. Oh, I think I'm counting these as coming in untapped. So I had green. Green. Great Horn. Should I spread the love here? Just get 2 more lands out of the deck here. Yeah, I mean, this is a big hit, right? Mountain. Yep, get some more triggers. Add a red source. Forest. Red source. If they're going to make us discard, losing the Morog could be annoying here. But they also may not have a board wipe, and that can end up finishing the game off. So, swing in. Down to 5. That is really just so fun to do. Migratory Great Horn on one of these guys is so busted. The fact that they can't really block very well with a Elemental too. Like, they can't just leave this back to block it. So they either have to kill this or take 3 points of damage at a minimum. Opponent just passes the turn. Roiling Regrowth. So we have Castle Embereth. They can only block here with a Wrinkle. Morog could be fun, but I feel like Counterspell's likely, which I'm not sure if Rolling Regrowth actually helps us a ton then. I guess I could do this first. Might as well, right? Let's go ahead and try to see how this works. We get to hold up Castle Embereth still. Sacrifice, I actually want more basic lands, right? So turn Timber. Forest, that's all of our basic lands. We are getting through those a little bit quicker than I was hoping. Red and red. Play Morog. I mean, if they counter here, we know that they have nothing else really going for them. Swing, swing. They have to block here. If we swing with Cobra, it gets a pump from the Morog. That means they have to block the Hellhound, so we at least get in for damage, right? Unless they flash in something else, which is pretty likely. Thieves Guild Enforcer, all right. Okay, blocks there. Still gonna kill everything here. All right, not quite. Definitely kill their ankle. All right, they're down to 2. They did stay alive, and maybe that was a little bit too greedy. The Morog basically acted as the Castle Embereth there, and so the fact they didn't counter the first spell meant that this was likely to resolve. So maybe the attack was a bit greedy, knowing they could flash in something like this, but I still don't feel like we're in a bad spot. They can't Castle Locthwain anymore, without casting, well, actually, unless they cast 2 things. So card draws off the table. Another Thieves Guild Enforcer could be annoying. So the best thing would probably be like a Brushfire Elemental off the top, just so it can't be blocked very easily. Ooh, a big old Lifelinker. That is also really bad. Oh, that's really bad. Could try to swing in to just get the trade, get it off the table. They can still block here though on the Lotus Cobra. Well, crap. That's not good. And unfortunately our Fable Passages and things like that don't have any other basic lands to go digging for. Maybe I need to add in a few more basic lands to the deck. I know that I have a high chance of getting them out, but that doesn't necessarily help me. Swings all in. They must have removal for Morog. Or they want to be able to draw with the Castle Lockthwain. Alright, Zera's Son gets to grab the Moroth. Or Morog or whatever. Or maybe like a Rada. Phylath would be, yeah, Phylath would be good. Lots of blockers. No, it's going downhill so quickly. Oh no. This is just sad. Replays the Thought Thief as well. Or just eliminates. Oh, how did it go so wrong? So it gets +1 for each time it attacked each turn. So we can attack him with Morog a couple times. It goes for the chomp. Unfortunately, I don't have like an Ember Cleave or anything here. Yeah, I mean, we're dead anyway. Just trying to see if there's a chance. Yeah, we're out of basics as well, so it didn't even let me try to do the Fable Passage though. That was annoying. It's like that was actually, I don't know why Arena wouldn't let me at least try for the Fable Passage there. But yeah, we were out of basics. Oh, that was a terrible loss. That was frustrating. All right, up against Baba. And we will keep. Dingleville tap, pass the turn. I never know the right way to go at this. I think it's Brushfire Elemental first. Go for the damage dealer. I mean, I can bring it out with haste on the next turn, right? So yeah, I guess Lotus Cobra actually gets in more damage here. So go Lotus Cobra. Oh, cycling. Why are you a thing, cycling? Flourishing Founks. All right, Brushfire Elemental. Fable Passage. I could go ahead and trade off with the Flourishing Fox here if I wanted to. What do we lose out on? We get rid of a blocker. We get in for a lot more damage. We have a chance to go wide though if we ramp up. So yeah, let's just go ahead and swing with the Elemental. Do I want to push anything else here? Yeah, they can't block. Yeah, let's go ahead and pump. Down to 15, pass the turn. Great Horn onto Gilded Goose here will be pretty sweet as well. Just putting a lot more power onto the battlefield. Draneth Stinger, more blockers that also can't block the Elemental. Down to 19, so they've got to be racing to get a Zenith Flare here. All right, so I can play out Phylath, I think. Let's see here. We get 1, 2. But yeah, with Gilded Goose, we have 5. See, I think we should do that. Only 2 plants, but that's fine here. Now we have a good blocker. 3 cards in the graveyard. Okay, cycles up to 4. No Zenith Flare this turn. So we have a chance to potentially close it out with Rolling Regrowth. Okay, cycles again. Up to 6, down to 13. Not swinging in. Okay, that's what I was interested to see. All right, and we hit a land here, which is, oh, so sweet. All right. Yeah, 4 counters there. You get bigger and harder to block. Mutate you onto Gilded Goose. Grab a mountain's fine here. All right, I think that we can kill him here. Especially with Regrowth being able to go at instant speed. So attack in. Whatever plant they don't block, we put a bunch of counters onto it, basically. Swing in. Oh, dude, this is exactly the kind of thing we want with Phylath. It's so good. Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, bonus scoop setup. We had lethal already. With the regrowth, we had an additional... how much more power did we put on the battlefield with that? We would have put on 8 plus 4, so 12 more power onto the battlefield, and 2 more mana just for the funsies. Oh my goodness, dude. This deck, when it goes off, is so powerful. I love it. All right, here is a sweet hand. Not too shabby at all. We will keep it. Hello there. It's too much effort to go down to the line there. Do we want to play out a tap land here? We can get out the Florahedron on turn 2, but I think it's Brushfire Elemental regardless into Dryad. So let's go ahead and get rid of the Florahedron. That's probably the thing I'm most likely not to play. All right, Brushfire Elemental. Please don't die. Yep, they've got a stomp here. Yep. Oh, there it is. Yippee. Not hitting another land, though. That is good. All right, let's go green source. Mammoth. A mammoth. If they don't put out a blocker here, we get a hit for so much damage. No blocker. No blocker. No. Rude. Well, we have a lot of ramp. That's something, I suppose. Okay, play Dryad. Play Mountain. We'll go ahead and get out one of these. Tapped. Pass the turn. The nice thing with Dryad, of course, making everything enter as basic land helps with Phylath, or everything we control as a basic land. Really good with Phylath. Bone Crushy. Ooh, Skyclave Pickaxe. All right, we're going to try to get the block. Sweet. And if they don't block, they get hit for a ton. So it still is worthwhile for them to try for it. Get some hits. Kill him. We'll hold on to the smashing. Pass the turn. Extinction event. Nice. All right, Phylath, Morag. Those are the cards we want to draw. That will work for now. Pass the turn. Liliana. X equals the cards in the graveyard so they can kill the mammoth. Ugh. So rude. This can't hit planeswalkers, right? So X1. Feels like a shame there to do it right then, but I'd rather not be discarding the cards anyway. All right, we still have rolling regrowth for 2 more land hits. We have how many basic lands out of the deck? Not a lot just yet. Do I thin the deck out or do I save this for in case we find like a Brushfire Elemental? We can like almost kill them on 1 turn here. Let's just pass the turn. Haunted Nightmare. Yeah, no creature to put the Death Touch counter on. That works out pretty well. We're going to have to take the 3. I want to hold on to the rolling regrowth instead. We could get more lands out of the deck to try to make sure that we hit something good here. But we need these triggers with our stuff. Oh, yeah, terrible. Terrible draw. Pass the turn. If they find a red source, they can bring back Kroxa. There it is. Good drawing there, sir. So proud of you. Yeah, now I think I'm just going to play it out. We need to try to find stuff. All right, lands are out of our deck. Let's not hit any more of those. Down to 10. Oh my gosh. We only have 18 lands that do anything. Yeah, all right. Good job, sir. You got us. We drew 5 lands in a row, and you got us. Oh, I love Magic sometimes. Sometimes I love it. Up against Math Guy 124. Should I tell him that there's a 3 in there? Math Guy obviously doesn't know that. We're going to keep this. This is a little bit awkward keep. Let's see here. Okay, untapped green source is actually really cool here. Let's go ahead and play Smashing tapped. We're going to try to just do as much damage with the elemental as we can. Okay, mill over a card. That's okay thing to mill. Elemental. Swing in. Down to 19. If we find an untapped green source, we'll play the Mammoth, I think, over the Hellhound. Try to just get more bodies that are harder to kill on the battlefield. And then once we get to 6 mana, we'll start doing Scoot Swarm type things. Down to 18, mill another card. Can flash in. I don't think anything can block the elemental, so it doesn't really matter here. Maybe a removal spell, though. All right, go Evolving Wilds. Attack in. Oh, why did I not pump there? That was a misplay. We can actually do some pretty sweet things with Dryad, though, on this next turn. All right. Lose the Hellhound. That's fine. Pass the turn. So yeah, with Fabled Passage, pumping this up, we get to Dryad, sacrifice a few things, play out the other Fabled Passage. We get this up to a massive creature. So please don't have anything big that can actually block it. That is the dream here. Oh. All right. Rude. In that case, do we go Scoot Swarm and try to go wide? Nighthawk Scavenger. Man, the life gain. This is one of the main cards that kills us in this matchup. Everything else we can kind of deal with. We're fine with getting countered, occasionally getting some removal, but them gaining life, and sometimes up to 7 life in a turn is so bad for us. So Rada could be interesting. Is it just Scoot Swarm here? Just try to go wide. Dryad on the next turn lets us do some pretty cool things. Yeah, I mean, this lets us get Scoot Swarm going on the next turn, right? So pass the turn. I mean, I'm not sure that's the best way to go. This gives them a chance to turn it off for a turn, but we also get to then have Fable Passages, all the cool things going on. We get to play, so we get to play Dryad, we get to play Mammoth. No, all right. If they didn't have removal, I think that was the highest upside. Because then we could have created like 25 Scoot Swarms, and like if they couldn't kill us in 2 turns, we won. Now we'll just see what happens. Okay, what do we want to draw? Let's just pass to my turn. Dryad. All right, play out Mammoth. Attack in. Play Fable Passage. Pass the turn. Soaring Thought Thief. Yeah, this doesn't have trample, doesn't have any additional text on it. It's kind of good and kind of awful. I can see this being a lot better in like a commander deck when you can play it on turn 3. It can get in and hit people for like 10 points of damage in the early game when there's a lot less people to have blockers, and it's not a good enough threat to people to want to kill it necessarily. So like in commander, this is a sweet card because you have higher chances of people not blocking. All right, let's attack in with Mammoth first. Do you block or do you not? No blocks. Well, we are dead, but we're going to hit for as much damage as humanly possible first. There's a mountain. Another mountain. Rolling Regrowth. Shatter Skull goes to the graveyard. Forest and forest. And we get to hit for a bunch and a half, but still not enough. So 11 points of damage. Bam! I love how explosive this deck can be. Again, though, if they hadn't been gaining this much life, we had a chance. But they got us. And we did, son. And that's fine. This is probably the hardest matchup for us, and we probably just need to bring in some more removal. Shadow Skull Smashing is basically like the card for us to use against these things, and just not drawing them at the right times, and also just not having a lot of removal in the deck makes it hard. So that's okay. That's okay.